人類の反撃はこれからだ。
Attack on Titan, Wings of Freedom. This game is currently available for Steam, PS4, Xbox One. Depending on where you're at, you can get it now, or you'll have to wait till Tuesday. Either way, the game is going to be available by the time you see this review, either now or within a day or two. So let's get straight into what this game is about and what's going on here. Attack on Titan's story is something that everybody should know. If you don't, I'm not going to get into too much details because why spoil it for you if you haven't, because the story is actually pretty interesting and great. I'll give you the quick synopsis. You are a kid whose parents were killed by a Titan, and due to the fact that you witnessed this, you indeed turn out to have a bloodlust and revenge for Titans and want to kill Titans as you get older. You realize you were young and weak, so you want to grow older and get a little stronger. So this is the premise of the game. As it starts out, you learn how to attack and fight back against Titans. I won't get any further into the story because you may want to watch the series, and if you haven't watched the series or played the game, you're under a rock, but don't feel bad, so have I. I have been watching this series periodically, but this game actually got me back into it and I'm enjoying it. So let's get into a breakdown of the game and exactly what is taking place here. Controls. Koei Tecmo seems to have an understanding for innovating things that you have already played. This game is one of those things that actually takes a game that you're similar to seeing, or you think, probably play this, there's just going to be a difference. Attack on Titan is that different. When you play this game, the controls are like pretty much any of the other games in the series, except they add in the mechanical mobilized devices. Now these devices give you the ability to fly around and thrust around, sort of like a Spider-Man game if you're familiar to the swinging and the whole thing about roofs. Now this game is interesting because when you're actually in environments where there is no buildings, you cannot use the system. You just have to use the gas propulsion system. So pretty much the controls are tight and they take a little bit of getting used to, but they give you an intro mission where you get to use these and you learn pretty fast, and it's pretty good. So the fact that the learning curve is minimal and the controls are advanced as far as how you maneuver and how you do things, it gets really crazy. It keeps the game fast paced and it keeps it very interesting from just being generic. Now you do a lot of repetitive things with the controls, but like I said, due to the intricacies of the menu where you have different items you need to use, you have to do things like regas your propulsion system, you have to change your blades, you have to use energy drinks, you have to use things to blind the Titans and things of that nature. So there's a lot of intricacies, but they're simplified, and the control scheme for the game is pretty interesting and unique due to the fact that it's like Spider-Man meets Fist of the North Star, something of that nature. So the control system I actually think is pretty simplified but intricate enough to be good. So I do have to give the control scheme and the pattern and the lack of clunkiness a go. The controls are very important to me in a lot of games, and this game has no issue at all with the control system. Okay, graphically there's a lot to talk about, but I'm going to try and keep it brief. The PC version is capped at 1080p 60 frames per second. For some reason, unless you know how to edit in files or do changes to the actual client you're using, you will not be able to get 4K resolution on PC. So that out of the way, I guess it's not a big deal for console users. So let's talk about the console version now, because that's more important what we're going to talk about. The console version is reportedly coming in at 1080p 30 frames per second cap. So the 30 frames per second actually matters. Now this game is fast paced and it should be trying to reach 60 frames for more enjoyability. You will encounter screen tearing when the camera is panning around and things are moving fast on the console version. You actually will encounter less screen tearing, but you still will see screen tearing on the PC version as well. Now, of course, with the PC version being capped at 60, the screen tearing is very minimal, but at times you may notice it. I only noticed it maybe 3 times throughout the whole course of me beating the game, but still it was noticeable. On console, there's slowdowns and things of that nature when you're zooming across, and this is due to the FPS drops, and that's the reason that I feel like this game should have been capped at 60 for console as well. Now, is it actually 1080p on Xbox One? I have not been able to confirm that. I tried to actually reach out and find this information. I'm being told that it is 1080p on both versions on console. However, like I said, I couldn't confirm this. From what I'm being told, the frame rate is capped at 30, so I don't know why they chose to do that, but I guess that's kind of pushing the limits, because graphically the game is pretty impressive. It actually looks a lot better than what I will see when I watch the TV show, so that's when I know that a game's graphics are more impressive, when I can look at it and because of the detail to the actual screen, I can tell I'm actually playing a game versus watching a TV show, and I'm talking about watching this in HD. So graphically the game is pretty and it is impressive. It doesn't really matter what platform you get it for, but like I said, if you're gonna go for the FPS, of course you need to get it on PC, but just keep in mind PC has been stricken with caps and regulations on resolution. You can bypass these, but with games like this it usually causes issues when you do. Now I did try to bypass and go to 4K and I was able to hit this resolution, but due to the fact that it wasn't optimized properly, a 4K 4K, the screen tearing increases dramatically, so I recommend that you wait and see if they do an update to it. So just like other games in this genre, we are stuck at 1080p if we on PC. However, like I said, for platforms of choice, if you're on PC, then get it for PC. If you're on console, it doesn't really matter. So once again, for you console guys out there who do the whole Xbox PS4 thing, it does not matter with this title. Just get it if you like it. Like I said, the game is pretty enjoyable. Let's go to the overall section and wrap this up and see if we're gonna buy, rent, or skip this game. Overall, should you buy, skip, or rent this game? Well, that really depends once again on how you may feel about this. If you're a huge fan of Attack on Titan, then definitely you should get the game, because why? It's true to what you watched in the show. It has the same story except you live it out, and it plays pretty well. Mechanically, you control the Titan and the pilot just like you would in the cartoon, and the same thing is applied to the video game very well. So for things like this alone, there should be some commending grace given to the people who created the game. Now let's get into details about performance. Performance-wise, the game is fair. Could it be better? Of course it could, but it's good enough to me that it shouldn't be stricken by should you get it or should you not get it based off performance. It's not an issue. To be quite honest, I feel like sometimes us as gamers, we kind of tend to bitch and moan a little too much anyhow. So with that being said, let's put that to the side and get into the breakdown. Graphically, the game is impressive and looks crispy and good, just like the cartoon and animated series does. This looks just as impressive or even better. You get a lot of action and you get a lot of replay. Let's talk about content. Of course, the campaign itself is roughly 7 hours. That's how long it took me to complete it. So I beat it within 2 days, over 2 to 3 different sitting periods, and I beat the game. Now, once you beat the game, you do have an online or offline mode called Expedition mode, where you take on missions that were not in the campaign, whereas there's not really a story to it, but it does have an objective, it does have a point, but it doesn't have the full-fledged campaign story to it, what you saw in the cartoon. Now, this gives the game replayability and value if you did not play the campaign or you beat the campaign and don't have anything to do. Does it give it enough content to justify a purchase? Well, yeah, it kind of does actually. I mean, at the end of the day, it doesn't have an online mode where you can play with people and actually fight them and things of that nature, but it does have enough content that if you feel like playing this type of game, you can just pick it up and do something and play. I feel like 7 hours worth of campaign plus the Expedition mode weighs in as enough content to purchase the game, me personally. Now, if you don't like Attack on Titan, then I recommend you don't get this game. If you play games like Fist of the North Star or Dynasty Warriors and you didn't like those games, this is very similar to that, but like I said, it is very unique as they added in the Spider-Man type of mechanic where you can web swing. So that's pretty cool to be able to do that with swords and kill huge titans. And you actually slaying them and seeing this on the screen is actually amazing. I'm always amazed that technology has advanced to the point where you can see this in the game. It's just not completely slowing down. Performance wise, like I said, on console it could have been a little bit better, but PC also could have been a little bit better, and that's PC saying that. So with that being said, overall, I don't think you should let that hinder you buying it. What it is it boils down to if you're a fan. If you're a fan of Attack on Titan, then this is the game for you because it lives up to everything you would want in a game based on Attack on Titan. So with that being said, I think you should definitely buy it. However, if you don't want to play a game that has only about 10 to 15 hours tops worth of content, then you may want to rent this first or rent it and keep it moving. However, like I said, if you're a fan, it's a buy. If you're not a fan and you want to try it out, you may want to rent this because once you play for 2 to 3 days worth of the content, you're pretty much done, and everything else is just you replaying it. So overall, let's just give you the straight drop. If you have never played this game and you want some achievements or trophies on PS4 or Xbox One, this is a cool little sit down game to run through and grab that up. If you are a fan, then yeah, you will enjoy this game. However, like I said, the content is not heavy and there is no multiplayer that can keep you replaying and replaying and replaying. So you may want to consider renting the game and trying it, but I do recommend that you play it because it's very enjoyable and it's put together enough that I think you should try it. If you got that 60, drop it. Why not? If you don't have that 60, then yeah, try and rent it and see, because once again, after 2 or 3 days of playing the game, you pretty much beat it and then it's on the shelf. And you may want to play it here and there, but that's enough to keep you coming back. Who knows if that's enough that you may want to just rent it again. So that's why I recommend you do check out the game, but the amount of content may make you regret buying it because due to the fact that after 2 or 3 days of play, you pretty much saw everything the game has to offer. That is up to you if you have the $60 to spend and what kind of a fan you are. But do I recommend you skip? You definitely should not skip this game. You definitely should try it out and enjoy it. Of course, added in to the content to keep you playing and replaying is the ability to level up your character and level up your gear. You can level up your swords, you can level up your omnidirectional tool, and you can level up the character and learn moves. I actually completed the game within 7 hours and still had at least half of the moves down and another half to go. There is other things you can do to progress through the game and learn other moves. So they do give you incentive to replay the game. Now, it's up to you if you want to replay the game. Now, that. Me personally, I thought that the game was well enough put together that replaying it was not a big issue. However, to some of you, you may want to wham bam thank you ma'am the content. However, like I said, it is Attack on Titan and the content is tight enough in my own personal opinion that yeah, replaying it 1 or 2 or 3 times is not bad. Will it stay on the shelf? Well, that depends on how much of a fan you are. This is Jimmybgaming. Like I said, once again, I'm out of here. Let me know what you think in the comment sections. Peace.
Who am I?